You're watching Your View.
Thank you for joining us. This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner.
Great friends, it is a Tuesday afternoon here on Kaplan and Crew, along with the Brown Man and Grande. We got a great show coming your way today. Mixed martial artist Phil Davis is going to stop by. NFL insider John Clayton will be here. And if you're listening on the radio, stay with us all afternoon. We're going to be on 1090 until 6 p.m. tonight, and that's when Browner and Lawhead take over. If you're watching on YouTube, you're getting this whole thing commercial free. Stay with us the entire way. Jump into the YouTube chat, and let's talk about the big story of what happened last night. And make sure you're involved in our YouTube chat. And then for those of you that are catching us on TV tonight on Cox's Your View network, you can always come to YouTube and check out the full show. You only get an hour on Cox's Your View. So Channel 4 San Diego, Channel 4 Santa Barbara, 118 Palos Verdes, and 118 in Orange County. But for those of you that are watching on TV, if you want the full experience, come to YouTube, youtube.com/Kaplan and Crew. All right, we are in the 7 Mile Casino Studios. Let me start off about last night's Monday Night Football game between the Chargers and the Raiders. And I'll make a couple of comments quickly, and then we'll all jump in. Here goes. One, if you love the Chargers, you're happy about what happened last night. To all my friends and familia that's part of the Bolt Pride worldwide, you guys were tailgating, you were shooting tequila, you were going into the stadium all fired up. You guys, you stood out in the crowd of black. I understand you guys are very happy today with the results of last night's game. For those of you that are Raider fans that showed up last night, and the estimation was 75% Raider fans, 25% Charger fans, you may not have been happy with the results, but I think Raider fans dealt with some reality last night, which was the Raiders were 3-0, and beating Baltimore was great, although it was fortunate and it was late in the game. Going on the road and beating Pittsburgh looked good in week 2, not quite as good right now. And the Raiders beating Miami, Miami's not very good. So the Raiders got to 3-0, and it wasn't like the Broncos 3-0 because the Broncos had played the Jets, the Giants, and the Jaguars. Those three teams were combined 0-9. The Raiders were 3-0, but did anybody really believe that the Raiders were that good? And for everybody that was pushing Derek Carr for MVP, I'm like, pump the brakes, dude. We're not even a quarter of the way through the season. So Raider fans, you showed up last night. You showed out last night, but the team, especially in the first half, was not ready. On the other hand, I will say this. For those of us that are Charger haters or Raider fans, you had to love the perpetuation of the storyline last night. This thing went on all night. I mean, it's all anybody talked about was how there's so many more Raider fans, how the Chargers haven't really been accepted in LA, how LA is still Raider country. I mean, this went on throughout the entire game last night, and to the point where after the game, the Charger players doing social media on the field, these guys were like, yo, we just got that dub. And they said we didn't have any fans. Well, the few of you that were here, we heard you. It was crazy how everybody was talking about the fans and how there were so many more Raiders than Charger fans. So while you may not have been happy with the result, like I was hoping that the Chargers would lose, while I wasn't happy with the result of the game, the perpetuation of the story was fascinating to me. And I'll tell you one last thing before Alex and Grande jump in. This morning, 7 a.m. this morning, I turn on Stephen A. Smith and his morning show, First Take on ESPN. And Stephen A. Smith is, I'm going to say, bragging to everybody. Hey, I was at the game last night. SoFi Stadium's unbelievable. The owner's suite out of this world. Thank you to Dean Spanos for all of the hospitality last night. Can you imagine the Chargers, who were the worst team in the world when it comes to dealing with media while they were in San Diego? This is the same organization that would call me threatening to take my credential, telling me I was hurting their business by being critical of them on the radio in San Diego. This is an organization that from a media standpoint has gone out and recruited a guy like Colin Cowherd. They've let him into the war room on draft day so that Colin Cowherd would become a supporter and would go on national radio and national TV and hype the Chargers. The fact that they had Stephen A. Smith in the owner's suite last night, and they're feeding him drinks and feeding him food and kissing his ass and telling him how great he is, Also, that Stephen A. Smith can go on the air the next day, win, lose, or draw, and hype the Chargers. Look, I don't want to say it's completely unethical on Stephen A's part to be wined and dined by an owner, because Stephen A is not a journalist anymore. He's a personality, and a $12 million a year personality. So, he is wined and dined as if he's a movie star, not as if he's covering the team from a journalistic perspective. But man, oh man, whoever inside the Chargers is coming up with this newfound media strategy: find the biggest stars in media, kiss their ass, welcome them, show them a great time, and hope that they're going to go on TV the next day and tell everybody how great you are. It is working perfectly. It worked with Colin Cowherd. It worked last night with Stephen A. Smith. I applaud the Chargers. It's the smart thing to do. While at the same time, I say to these guys, you guys are total sellouts. Okay. It's okay, by the way. I mean, I would sell out too. If I were in Stephen A. Smith's shoes and the owner invited me to the game, wined me and dined me, and then I went on the air and told everybody how great it was, I'd do the exact same thing. So I'm not saying that you're a sellout and I'm gonna be a hypocrite. No. I would sell out too. I would sell out just like you did, Stephen A. I'd sell out just like you did, Colin Cowherd. And if the Rams invite me to their suite, the next day I'm going on the air and I'm telling everybody how great the Rams suite is and how great Stan Kroenke is, even if they get blasted by Arizona. So look, last night, there's so much to talk about with last night's game. Alex, what's your top storyline out of last night's game?
It's not my top, but I will start it off with the fact that there was somehow a weather delay, even though they were an indoor stadium, because there's like the open-ended end zone part was hilarious. And that gave us 30, 40 extra minutes of the pregame show talking about how many Raider fans there were there. Like that was a nice little bonus for us Charger haters, because they introed the Raiders twice, and Susie Colbert goes, "They're booing the home team." Fantastic. Steve Young, who was the MVP for me last night, goes, "There's 90% Raider fans here. It's not even close." And I feel like they told Booger McFarland, like, "Hey, can you please be a little positive about the Charger fans?" And he's like, "You know what? A couple more seasons of wins, and they're gonna pack this place with powder blue." Like, so there was an effort of balance there, but it was really difficult to do anything positive for the Chargers pregame show. And what I mean, if you missed it, I don't watch pregame shows. I tuned in 5 minutes before kickoff, and I still got to catch this little gem by Steve Young. Just put yourself in his shoes, okay, real quick. Steve Young, he's in LA. He's in the Chargers stadium. He's not in a studio. He's not anywhere. He's in Los Angeles, and he still calls them San Diego.
34-33 San Diego. Wow, this is going to be a bar.
San Diego?
San Diego. Oh,
San Diego?
Well, I'm telling you what, give me 5. Hey, you heard the coach talking about how gangster is. That means you got an old gunslinger. Let me go with the LA Chargers.
I mean, dude, come on.
All right, so Steve Young calls
5
him
years
San
later.
Diego. He has to do push-ups. But didn't he do it a second time or maybe even a third time?
He did it a second time as well.
Justin Herbert is a guy that I think the San Diego Chargers go, holy crap, we just drafted one of the generational talents.
All right, well, that one, the audio wasn't as good, but what he said is, Justin Herbert, holy crap, we've just drafted a generational talent, the San Diego Chargers. So Steve Young, right, he's in Los Angeles. He flew into L.A. He stayed in an L.A. hotel. He drove to Inglewood, and he's standing there inside the Rams Stadium, and he still calls the Chargers the San Diego Chargers. So
Yeah.
I liked it also. Listen, I was so confused. I got it. It is not a dome per se, It is a roofed. It is a stadium with a roof over it. So when you go to SoFi, if you ever get there, the stand, there's actually wind that can blow through because it's not really enclosed.
It's
It's covered. Yeah, it's covered. It's not enclosed. Do you understand the difference?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you do.
It's covered, but not enclosed.
Yeah. So, yeah, weather delay last night in this game. All right, Browner, your boy Herbold, he really showed up. And I'll tell you, man, the country is starting to really pay attention. When you've got a win on the road against Patrick Mahomes, and you've got a road win against the Raiders and Derek Carr, who is, having this monster first 3 games, listen, I can sit here and tell you, I can pick it at the Charger organization, but I can't really say that much bad about the team itself. I mean, Herbold is a great young quarterback. I love Austin Eckler and his story because remember, Melvin Gordon was a first round draft choice and he was expendable because an undrafted free agent became their lead running back in Austin Eckler. They did go out and get a ton of offensive linemen. They drafted wide receivers year after year when we thought that was a big mistake. And they've got a bunch of tight ends whose names I never don't really know. And then defensively, you got Joey Bosa, and there's a bunch of other guys who you're like, I don't really know this team anymore. But man, they're fast on defense. They're aggressive on defense. So look, analytically speaking, I can tell you, Chargers look really good. And last week, when the Rams beat the Buccaneers, everybody shot the Rams to the top of their power rankings. This week, the Chargers destroy the Raiders, and the Chargers will shoot to the top of everybody's power rankings, and everybody will go gaga over the Raiders, or excuse me, over the Chargers. But that's what it is. That's what this league is. It's every week you find a new flavor that you love. So, Brown, what'd you think last night of your boys? L.A. Brown.
The Chargers are the second best team in the AFC, and they're a hair behind Kansas City because I believe in Patrick Mahomes a little bit more because he's more proven than Justin Herbert. But I told y'all before that game started last night, it was a coming out party, and he partied. He came. Justin Herbert missed a couple of deep throws, but the way he throws the ball on the screen, legendary. Legendary. Second best quarterback in the league, if not the best quarterback in the league. I love Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes throws, they come from different angles, but they look like what you saw last night. That's greatness. That is greatness. Period, point blank, end of story. The Chargers will be, much to the chagrin of a lot of people who, when they left San Diego. I get it. I get the anger. I get the distaste. Still to this day, forever until they bury you, put it on your tombstone. That kid is great. And that team is going to be great. I don't care how many people show up cheering for the other team. Didn't hurt him. Didn't matter to him. I think it's making them better because they know this all we got. This all we got. The 53 in here. That's all we got. Don't worry about what's happening on that field. Stick with me. Come with me. Just zing, 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 zing. Game time. There was a lot of talk about the Raiders going into this game. A lot of talk about Derek Carr. A lot of talk about John Gruden. Nobody was really talking about Justin Herbert. There were some people murmuring, but they weren't talking about him like they were talking about Derek Carr, and he just went to Kansas City and beat Patrick Mahomes. So, all right, here we go. Let's go. Here we go. Buckle up for the ride, baby, because here we go. He is the Tatis. He is the Tatis of football.
Well, if that's the case, and if he's the Tatis, I would say to you that the Chargers are the Padres. And what happens ultimately is we get ourselves all hyped up and we get caught up, and then all of a sudden things come crashing down to earth. Listen, everybody knows my position here, okay? I'm rooting against them, and I'm rooting against their success. And when I say that, I like Justin Herbert, and I like Austin Eckler.
Right.
And I like a lot of the players that I see as someone who loves football, but as someone who can never get over what that franchise and what that ownership did to this community, I can't ever root for them. But analytically, I can look at them and go, wow, they're good. Now, historically, what happens with these guys, it doesn't matter who the coach is, doesn't matter who the quarterback is, it doesn't matter what stadium they play in, it doesn't matter how many fans they play in front of that are wearing blue. Historically, this team finds a way to screw things up. And you may say, well, this is a different generation. Well, I got news for you. When Phillip Rivers was in his second year, the things that people are saying about Justin Herbert are the same things people were saying about Phillip Rivers. Same stuff, same exact stuff. And by the way, the Rivers teams back then were real Super Bowl contenders, which this team through 4 weeks looks to be. But there's so many things that are going to happen between now and the end of the season. So I pump the brakes on hype.
No brakes pump.
One of the easiest things of all time as an NFL first-year head coach is to do the opposite of what Anthony Lynn did. And that's exactly what Brandon Staley's doing. Like, he probably just saw what Anthony Lynn did in most situations. It's like, what would he do? Okay, I'm doing the opposite. It's not that hard. Like the best job in the NFL right now is to be his punter because he's just not going to use you. So it's an easy thing to do. Like, the thing about last year and the Chargers, what made it so fascinating and hilarious was that it's the same team. It's the same quarterback. It's the same receivers. It's the same Joey Bosa.
Line,
It's that line's already hurt. The Brian Bulaga's already gone. So it's the same team. And it's just a coach that is actually competent. It's really not that hard. Stop overthinking it. You got a quarterback that can give you a yard almost every time. Most NFL teams do. You know what I mean? Like, nut up. I was gonna say a bad word, and just go do it.
Well,
Like, it's
I
not
mean,
that hard.
what he's already done last week, going for it on 4th and 4, but then getting a penalty and still going for it on 4th and 9. That was a gutsy move by Brandon Staley. Early in this game last night, he tried to fake a punt. Now, Hunter Renfrow, the receiver
Great
from the
play.
Raiders, who's one of my favorite players in the league, he comes up and makes a stick, and the Chargers don't pick up the first down. But I love the idea of going for it on 4th down. I love the idea of faking a punt. I love the idea of doing things that conservative coaches don't do. You're a
Yes.
first-time head coach. You're a young guy. You got a contract. You're not going anywhere. The Chargers don't like to fire coaches because they don't like to pay contracts. You've got the future. So you might as well just go for it in the early stages of your head coaching career and see what happens. And I think
think
that's what he did last night.
the message has been sent across the NFL. You need touchdowns. Field goals ain't gonna get it done no more. You need 6s, not 3s. And that's why I think once you cross that 50 between the 35 and the 40, if it's 3 or 4 yards, teams are going for it. They are going for it because we are now in a scores league. All the rules.
Not all teams.
Yeah.
You saw it last night.
I mean,
the Raiders down 7 or 10. What was it? 14? I don't remember.
I think it was down 14, and they tried to kick a field goal.
And he missed it.
Yeah, and
They were down
you might
7.
be right. I think you're right. It was 7. So they were thinking, hey, you know what? Let's kick the field goal here, and let's try and get the ball back, and let's see if we can.
Plenty of time left in the game.
Yeah.
There was a 52-yard field goal, not the longest of field goals, not the shortest of field goals, but they were down by 7. There was 10 and a half minutes left. So you're like, the old school traditional coach is like John Gruden's like, let's kick this field goal, and if we score a touchdown, then we got the lead. Bill Belichick did it the other day on Sunday night. He went for a field goal in the monsoon, and I talked
about Sean McVay the other day, down 27-13, trying a 46-yard field goal. If you make it, you're down by 11. What good is that? And as it turns out, they missed it. So I'm with you, Browner. Listen, I've got this philosophy that if you are inside of your opponent's 20-yard line and you're going in, on 4th and short, you should always be going for it, not kicking short field goals, especially, by the way, when you're a team on the road. I would have rather have seen Gruden go for it. Now, I will say one thing. This game could have been a little different. Late in the game, when the Chargers were up by 14, I believe, Derek Carr threw a bomb, and the receiver was wide open, and he overthrew him. And that – because the momentum was changing. The Raiders had stolen momentum from the Chargers when they'd gotten it to 21-14.
It felt like out of halftime, the Raiders had momentum coming out of halftime. And that game, for whatever reason, it switched at halftime, and the Raiders came out blazing.
You know who
couldn't finish?
You know who Derek Carr, he has an identical twin in the NFL. Kirk Cousins. When all is going well, he's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Any sign of adversity, any pressure in the pocket, he's a terrible quarterback. You get him outside his comfort zone, he stinks.
That's what Joey Bosa said last night. In fact, play it for everybody.
Ballsy Joey Bosa.
Two things Joey Bosa said after the game last night that made news. One, his criticism of Derek Carr, and 2, his beatdown on the referees. Let's listen to the Carr one first.
We knew once we hit him a few times, he really gets shook, and you saw on CeCe's sack, he was pretty much curling into the ball before we even got back there. So, great dude, great player. He's been having a great year, but we know once you get pressure on him, he kind of shuts down, and he's not as effective with the crowded pocket. So that was the key to it.
All right. Well, that was the first one that Joey Bosa had, talking about how Derek Carr, crumbled under the pressure. But then Bosa, who had a late penalty in the game, going after a referee, a 15-yard penalty that could have changed the game, didn't, but could have. Here's what Bosa said about the refs. And by the way, be prepared, Joey. You're going to have a big fine coming your way from the NFL this week.
And you're not getting any calls the rest of the season.
I didn't even know they called the penalty on me because I was fuming. But, I mean, refs are blind. Simple. I'm sorry, but you're blind. Like, open your eyes and do your job. It's so bad. It's unbelievable. I mean, look at the play. Sack, game over, 15 yards. It's a big deal. Obviously, that's on me. I should never lose my control like that. But these guys have got to do a better job because it's been years of terrible, terrible missed calls left and right. It's really pathetic, honestly, but pathetic on me too for doing what I did. Call or not, I have to take a step back and just go to the next play. But man, they just seem to not even have their eyes open half the time.
Oh, dude, Joey Bosa is going to be getting a big-ass fine from the NFL. And your point is right on, Alex. They'll be calling penalties on everything he does.
Oh, yeah.
The whole year.
But
the whole year. All right. Well, let's do this. We got a lot more to get to. Including we thought this guy was retired, but he's still rocking his costume and talking a lot. We'll get there. I thought this guy was a retired Charger, but apparently he's come out of retirement. We will get there. A lot more to get to from last night's game, including John Gruden's post-game comments. So we'll get to all of that coming up. We are in the 7 Mile Casino Studios. A reminder, 7 Mile Casino not only has great blackjack and poker, but now they've got Sammy's Restaurant and Bar right there inside the casino. You've loved Sammy's Woodfire Pizza for all these years. Now it's inside 7 Mile Casino. Come on down Saturday and Sunday brunch from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. All right, more on last night's Monday Night Football game. Stick around, everybody. This is Kaplan and Crew with Grande and the Brown Man.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
Kaplan and Crew tonight is brought to you by BMW San Diego, your certified BMW dealer, serving drivers throughout San Diego and the surrounding areas.
Rich Eisen here, inviting you to catch my show, The Rich Eisen Show, on our flagship radio station, the mightier 1090. We're on every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to noon Pacific time. You'll like what you hear. If not, that's just, I guess, too bad.
A new generation of radio, the all-new and mightier 1090.
SDCCU is an engaged community partner. Each year, SDCCU is proud to support many nonprofit organizations throughout Southern California. Our partnerships allow us to help shape the financial lives of many through volunteerism, financial support, and creating public awareness. The result is a big impact on the communities we serve. SDCCU, it's not big bank banking, it's better. Federally insured by NCUA. Find out more at sdccu.com.
Great things can be achieved when a community comes together. Join Erica Cardenas on Doing More as she introduces you to ordinary people working side by side to confront tremendous challenges and make a positive impact in their community. Watch Doing More Sunday night at 6 on YourView or stream it online at yourview.com. Join the Walk for Alls at Balboa Park on October 16th. Every dollar raised stays local to help San Diegans with dementia. Register at alzsd.org/walk.
This year, Jobtoberfest is Wednesday, October 13th. It's the largest annual job fair in San Diego County for people with disabilities. Goodwill is one of our major sponsors.
Goodwill San Diego is proud of our ongoing participation with Jobtoberfest. As an employer of people with disabilities, we recognize the tremendous value they add to the workplace and the importance paid work makes in their lives. Together, we are making good happen.
Up to 30% of COVID-19 patients become long haulers with persistent symptoms months after the infection.
What I've been finding with my patients is that it's taking up to 3 to 6 months for them to recover their endurance, exercise capacity, and get them back to work or to their usual activities of daily living.
What I wasn't able to do was the basic needs, like brush your teeth, take a shower, because of the shortness of breath, the tightness in my chest.
The symptoms that concern me the most, the shortness of breath. So restrictive. You know, you go through and you just take for granted that, you know, you're gonna breathe. And when that gets taken away, it's a scary thought. Unfortunately, I'm 6 months out now from my diagnosis and I'm still suffering from several of the symptoms.
My experience with the patients I've sent to La Mesa Rehab has been extremely positive. The patients come back with good reports, and when I see them in the office, their exercise capacity has improved dramatically.
I'm getting there because of La Mesa Rehab.
Teatro means theater in Spanish, and in Portuguese, and in Tagalog, and in Italian, and in so many languages. We have a lot of communities, a lot of culture here, so that is the reason why teatro is in the name. The mission of Teatro San Diego is to provide arts education to underserved communities, specifically in schools. Our goal is also in tandem with arts education to provide a professional theater company and dance company so that the community can see themselves reflected on stage at the professional level. Places like Subaru have really been so supportive and have helped us come up with projects like the AMI project.
I was so honored to be at an event a few days ago and heard some of the songs from it. These guys rock. This is just an amazing thing that everyone needs to see.
Hey, Dave Smith here. Make sure you listen to my show on the Mightier 1090, 6 to 10 p.m. Saturday and Sunday night. The only local sports talk in all of Southern California on the weekends, right here on the Mightier 1090.
The all-new and Mightier 1090.
Let's talk about a scary word, dementia. Getting lost, even in familiar places, is common in people with dementia, and it can be life-threatening. You can reduce the risk by moving keys and shoes away from the front door. Call 911 immediately if someone with memory loss wanders. For free support, contact Alzheimer's San Diego, 858-492-4400 or alzsd.org.
This year, Jobtoberfest is Wednesday, October 13th. It's the largest annual job fair in San Diego County for people with disabilities. Let's hear from one of our major sponsors.
At Marsty, we recognize the value that individuals with disabilities, as well as those in recovery from substance use, can bring to the workforce, especially to those who want to or are currently counseling those with disabilities and substance use disorder. Marsty is proud to partner with Jobtoberfest.
Nothing about the last year was normal, but you weathered it with grace, ingenuity, and creativity. In empty classrooms and full Zooms, you kept it together when we were apart. For all that you are, for all that you do, we salute you. Salute to Teachers is proudly sponsored by these charitable companies.
Here's Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout with Haley Stasiak.
San Diego State football had a bye last week, but they jumped into the top 25 in the AP poll. There were several upsets in college football on Saturday, which helped get the Aztecs into the rankings. This is the first time SDSU has been ranked since week 10 of the 2019 season. Prior to that year, the Aztecs hadn't been ranked since 2017, where they were at number 18 in the coaches poll with a 6-0 start to the season. That's the highest ranking for SDSU in 40 years. SDSU is off to a 4-0 start for the second time in 40 seasons, their last 4-0 start coming in 2017. Next up for SDSU is New Mexico this Saturday. That's your 60-second timeout. Now back to more Kaplan and Crew tonight.
Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout is presented by Your View.
Here it comes, Jalen Johnson. 3 touchdowns on the night.
Watch out.
And brought down right at the line of scrimmage.
To the end zone. Christakis pulls it in. What a catch!
Over the middle, right there in his hand. They throw down towards the end zone. In stride, touchdown, Dono. Thibodeau breaks another tackle.
Big run up the middle. Touchdown.
Stadium in San Diego. It has been a sellout the last few days. Loyal SC ready to kick off this season. Stadium in San Diego. Professional soccer has finally arrived.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the Mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the Mightier 1090 and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Great friends, it is a Tuesday afternoon here on Kaplan and Crew. And believe it or not, our lead story today is not the Padres. It's not when they're going to fire Jace Tingler. I did mention early in the show, for those of you that may have missed it, Adrian Gonzalez will join us tomorrow. I asked Adrian to come on the show to talk about the Dodgers versus the Cardinals on Wednesday. But Adrian said, while we're there, let's talk about the Padres managerial situation. And I said to Adrian, are you going to put your name inside the hat as a possible replacement for Jace Tingler? And Adrian said something to the effect of, I think my style of baseball is very different from AJ Preller's, so I'm not sure it would mesh, but let's have that conversation. Adrian Gonzalez will be here tomorrow to break down the Dodgers game against St. Louis and to maybe throw his hat in the ring for the Padres' future vacancy at the managerial position. So that is not our lead story today. We are not spending all this time talking about the Padres, although I do think we'll get to some of it a little bit later on. But we welcome you inside the 7 Mile Casino Studios along with the Brown Man and Grande. This is Kaplan and Crew. And Alex, when we left off, we were talking about the Chargers and the Raiders from last night. And we said, we thought one guy in particular was long retired, but he stood out like a sore thumb in the stands last night. Let's get to that part of the story.
Yes. Listen, if you followed this show since the 1090 days, you know that we have history with Boltman. Boltman made an appearance yesterday at SoFi Stadium, which I was surprised they let him in because last we saw Boltman, he was being escorted out of Dignity Health Sports Park. Remember?
Yeah, wasn't that like the first year that the Chargers went to LA? And as I recall, the story was that Boltman went there in costume and security told him that he had to take it off. I mean, isn't that the story?
If I remember correctly, that was the story. That he was, I don't know what he was trying to do or if he just got kicked out. Like that part, I couldn't, I looked up Boltman for whatever reason. I couldn't find articles about it. But I remember him being kicked out.
Yeah. Now, Browner, do you understand the history we have with this guy Boltman? Do you understand this?
It's very hazy. The only thing I do clearly remember is that you and him made a bet, or he said he would do something with the suit, like he would donate the suit for charity or something.
Yeah. Here's what happened. So Boltman was the unofficial mascot of the Chargers for all these years, you know, and when the Chargers move discussion was happening, anytime there was a big meeting to be had in San Diego, whether there was back in the day, there was the Citizens Stadium Advisory Group that our friends were all a part of, and that he would show up at these things, and I've got tons of pictures of me hugging it out with Boltman, and he would call the show, and he actually at one point Boltman, as I recall, Alex, tell me if you remember this, Boltman tried to get a law firm from New York to sue either the city or the NFL to try and not allow the Chargers to actually leave. Wasn't Boltman kind of behind that whole movement?
He was trying to do what the St. Louis is currently doing. He was trying to file some sort of antitrust lawsuit against the NFL.
So the point is, Browner, is Boltman, I don't remember his real name. He used to call the show all the time. He used to show up at everything that we did. When Jim Steig would have events that we would show up to, Boltman would be there in full regalia. And so Boltman was, not only was he a character inside Qualcomm Stadium, but when the Chargers were moving or talking about moving, he was a voice of the fan to say, I've invested all this time and energy into this franchise and don't take them from us. So he was a fan activist, if you will. You know, there was Johnny Bolt Pride. There was Boltman. There were a couple other guys that sort of had their names known as fan activists. But that's who he was. But then again, when the Chargers first moved to LA, he went to a game, and I remember him coming on the show explaining the story of him being kicked out of the stadium because they told him he couldn't wear his Boltman costume. Yeah.
It was because he wouldn't take his mask off for security to go through security. And of course, I'm reading Times of San Diego did a write-up about our interview with him. And he said that security, he's never been told to take off the mask and that they were treating him like he was Rodney King or something. Yeah, like the quotes are just awful. Like I don't remember any of this,
I
but he
do.
said that I, he said that
They
that the
beat the
only
hell out
reason
of him at the gate.
he said the only reason that they didn't do that was because people were filming it.
Mm-hmm.
So they let him go.
Wait a minute. So you can't tell somebody they treated you like Rodney King, bro. They didn't whoop your ass at the gate. I'm confused. What you
Yeah,
mean they
dude.
treated you like Rodney
He said,
King?
had videographers not been present, he would have been thrown to the ground and wrestled out like Rodney King.
They didn't wrestle Rodney King out of nowhere, okay? They
No.
beat the hell out of Rodney King. He needs to find another person to
So he
wrestle.
showed up. He showed up, and this article was September 26, 2017. So their
Yeah.
first year there,
Mhm.
and yeah, he he showed up about probably like what week 1 or 2
Yeah,
right there.
yeah. But then last night he shows up. But there's a story to be told in between. So remember, so he goes up to Dignity Health Sports Park.
Yeah.
He gets kicked out of the game by security in full Boltman costume. And then the security guys were like, "Hey, you need to take that mask off." And he was like, "Don't you know who I am?" And they're like, "No." And he was like, "But look at me. You don't know who I am?"
Yeah.
And they're like,
we don't know what's under there.
Right. Well, that, and also it was like, we're in LA now, and we weren't the same security guards down in San Diego. So when you ask us, do we know who you are? Our answer is we don't know who you are. We just see what we think is a grown man inside of a Boltman costume.
And from my understanding, was he ever really accepted by the organization?
Oh,
He
no.
was always the unofficial mascot.
The unofficial mascot. So he
Right.
bought his own tickets.
Yeah.
He was not like the San Diego Chicken. You know what I mean? He was an unofficial mascot of
unlicensed
the Chargers.
mascot.
Is
Right.
he more like Fireman Ed for the Jets?
Good comparison. Good solid comparison. Only the difference is Fireman Ed, he got on his fire hat backwards. You see his face. You know he's a human being. You don't know what's underneath that costume.
If you're this boatman person, you've got to know they don't know who you are. Like again, this isn't Qualcomm where you've been going for a decade strong. This is a brand new place to them. You're just a threat to security, bro. Just take the mask
So that
off.
was 2017. He
But-
refused to take the mask off because he thinks everybody knows him.
Right. But there's another story here that happened. And here's what
Yes.
I recall. So Boltman calls the show one day. This is back in the old 1090 days. Boltman calls the show and he says, "Listen, I'm going to retire as Boltman. However, I had this costume custom built. I've sweated my balls off in it for the last 20 years, but I've had this costume custom built, right? It's got a case, okay? It's well taken care of, etc." So Boltman says when the Chargers leave San Diego, this is going back many years ago, he said, "I'm going to sell the Boltman costume to somebody new." So there's going to be a new Charger fan in LA that wants to continue the Boltman tradition, and I'm going to sell the costume to somebody. But this is off memory. He's like, "But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up for auction." And I may have a little bit of the details fuzzy, but here's what I recall.
Put it on eBay.
Okay. I'm going to put the costume up for auction, and here's what I'm going to do.
Now.
I'm going to split the proceeds with Rady's Children's Hospital, as I recall. And we go on the air, Browner, and we're telling everybody, look, let's help support Rady's Children's. Let's sell the Boltman costume. Let's figure it all out. And eventually what happened, again, as I recall, and I don't remember everything, but as I recall, here's the deal. He wasn't able to generate the amount of money he wanted to. So let's say if somebody was going to buy the Boltman costume for $1,000, he wasn't going to split that with Rady's. His argument was, I've spent time in this thing. It cost me a bunch to have it made. I've created this character. It has
selling
a lot,
the rights.
Right. It had a lot more value than just the actual costume itself. And that's when my relationship with Boltman, we started to get into it on the air. Like, dude, you said you were going to auction it off. Okay. You said you were going to split the proceeds with Rady's Children's Hospital. Now you're not getting the amount of money that you want. And now you're not going to sell it and you're not going to donate to Rady's Children's. And so last night when I saw Boltman in the stands at the Raiders game, I went, wait a second. Who is this guy? And we're watching it on video right now. For those of you that are listening on radio, we're watching him on video amongst all the Raider fans. There's Boltman. So do I have the details
I don't know.
close to right here?
Right. So basically the detail is that he actually ended up getting an auction bid on eBay for $72,000 for the suit and the rights, according to him. And to him, that wasn't enough. So we go on the air and we're like, dude, what the hell? $71,000 for a costume? Like, that's $71,000. And the only thing I think we cared about was his commitment to ratings, which was honorable back then. And then he started like going off on us.
Yeah.
And he then released a statement, and I
Yeah.
found this somehow.
This is all because Browner. I know that Browner wasn't really like part of the Daily Show back then.
Yeah.
Browner, he winds up releasing this statement all because we're busting his balls on the air.
Right. So he's like, I got the highest bid was $71,600. I understand to some fans this may seem like a lot of money for a mascot character. However, if I were to have accepted this bid, it would have negatively affected me financially. With 50% of the winning bid dedicated to Radies, the net proceeds after all taxes and fees would have been roughly $20,000. After over 2 decades and investing over 6 figures, it would have not have been a wise choice to sell at that price.
Do you realize that what he
That
was
man
trying
ain't
to
put
do?
no
What he was trying to do was he was trying to
Recoup his money.
all the money, not just from the costume, but from all the tickets that he bought and all the parking and all the concession. Every dollar that he invested into the San Diego Chargers back then, he wanted to recoup it all.
If you're going to do that, okay, but bro, whatever the cut is, that's the cut. It's worth what somebody will pay you for it. You can't then try to backcharge somebody because you feel like this is what you're owed. The suit is worth what someone will pay you for. What it means personally to you is a completely different conversation. And
I
now
wonder,
clearly, look at him showing up in it.
And I wonder, I don't know if I actually don't know if it's Dan or not. That's what I was trying to figure out last night. But what the funny thing is, like, no one told him to put half the money to Radies. Nobody. That was his own. That was his own thing. It was
That was his way of trying to increase the price.
And I genuinely wonder if that $71,000 bid was real. How much of that was just because, like, well, half of this is going to Radies.
Well,
Like-
you realize that back then, Radies was like, they were calling us. They're going, this is so wonderful. He's going to make this really generous donation. And then all of a sudden, he pulled it. He said, I'm not doing it. I'm not giving Radies. Because I remember busting his balls on the air going, dude, you just shortchanged Radies over $30,000. You know, so we wound up doing some fundraiser. I don't remember all the details. We wound up doing a fundraiser for Radies and raised them some money because he didn't sell the costume.
And I think I remember you like challenged him or something to like I'll raise 100,000.
That's what I remember, because I thought this was completely charity based.
Yeah.
And I thought I remembered Scott saying, "I will match whatever you raise," or something, or have it matched to whatever you raise, to some extent like that. And apparently he like balked at that too.
I know.
Yeah, he just started going on social media and blasting us because
I know.
I actually
He just kept killing us.
I actually searched my Twitter today, and I remember like I tweeted about it, and yeah, it was like, what the hell's going on here? We're
know.
fighting with a mascot,
Right?
an unofficial one. We're not even fighting with a real
You
one.
fighting with some dude in the suit that go to the game. He ain't no mascot.
But that's why I tagged Johnny Boltman. I should really just text him because I'm sure Johnny knows. Like, was that Dan
We'll
in the
find
suit,
out.
or did he sell it?
What was his
You know
name?
Let me
Dan
text
what?
him right
What was his name? Dan?
I never
With
knew
a
how to say it,
Z.
like,
With a
I
Z.
can bet
it
you
was
he
Jared
did not
White.
sell that suit. If he wouldn't sell it for 70 grand, which would have basically, according to him, dropped him to about 20, he wouldn't have sold that suit for anything under 100 grand. So
Well,
there's no way.
But he was very good at creating like media for himself.
Very good.
You know. So
very good.
All right, let me.
Also
the guy's walking around in a costume. Clearly, he doesn't have that big of a life as himself.
He has the most iconic picture of all time during the whole relocation debacle. He showed up to city council in the suit.
Oh yeah,
and he begged city council in a suit.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It was really great.
I'm texting Johnny Boltpride right now.
All right, hold on.
See if he
Stick
knows.
around, everybody, because I want to talk about something else though related to last night's game. Actually, it's not really related to the game so much. It's more about going to SoFi Stadium. Hang on for that for 1 second, but I want to tell you guys a quick story. You guys will love this. I get a text message today from a friend of mine who just recently redid his house. And when I say redid it, he had this beautiful house and he gutted the inside of the house and they changed out the whole house. And it went from spectacular before to like even more spectacular now. Right. So he sends me this message this morning and he said, hey, I may have a little bit of a problem with the house. I said, what's going on? Like, what does that have to do with me? And he said, I've had 2 pest control companies out here to my house. One said I have termites and I have to tent the entire house. The other one said that I don't have termites and that I don't have to tent the house. And I am totally confused. He said, so I wasn't going to do anything until I spoke to Corky's, but I had two other competitors come out and give me their opinions. One guy said tent the house, termites. The other guy said don't tent the house, not termites. So now my buddy who doesn't know anything about termites or pest control is like his head is spinning, like Urban Meyer after they lost to Cincinnati. So he calls me this morning. He said, hey, can you connect me directly to Corky? And I said, yeah, what's going on? He tells me the story I just told you guys. So I get on my text and I say, Cork, look, friend of mine, important person, beautiful big house, big job. You got to get involved here. Corky comes back and he's texts, and now I put everybody together. And now, literally, this happened early this morning. And by this afternoon, might have already happened by now, a Corky's pest control termite expert will have shown up at my friend's house to do a real analysis about whether or not A, he does have termites, and B, if he does have them, what can they or should they do to combat them? Because is it a full tenting? Everybody got to move out, pets got to leave, plants got to go, and you're out of the house for a few days? Or is it, hey, it's just in this area right here, and we can hit it with spot treatment, you know? So Corky's has lots of different ways to battle termites. But the first thing you got to know is, what's the story here? One pest control company says you do. The other one says you don't. One says tented. One says nothing. Now you call the expert. Now you call Cork. Cork shows up and he'll take care of it from here. So that's the story. You know, real simple. If you think you have termites, don't waste your time calling other pest control companies. Call the expert. Call the guy that wrote the textbook for all these other technicians to use. You call Corky's Pest Control. Or as Corky likes to say on his TV commercials, he's asking you just to Google the one word, Corky's, but I like to sing the phone number. Call 1-800-901-1102.
Corky's.
Very well done, Brown Man. Very, very well done. Did Johnny Boltpride get back to you, Alex?
Not yet,
Okay.
but I'm texting others too.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you
hopefully.
guys. Let me get your opinion on something. I need a little bit of friendly advice here from both of you fellas, and tell me what you think I should do. So Browner hits me up last night and tells me that he's going to go to Vegas this weekend to go see the Bears versus the Raiders. Okay, that sounds fun. Sounds like a good thing to do, right? And Browner, we'll make sure we get you some credentials and we'll take care of it, and you'll do some social media from up there. It'll be great for our audience. So we'll take care of that. But I have a slight dilemma related to the Chargers and SoFi Stadium, and I would love it if my two bros here could help me out. You guys ready?
Do it.
That's me. Does that me and Browner? We're the two bros?
Yeah, you guys are the bros.
Oh, we had a table for 6. Shout
Yeah.
out.
No, he needs new ones after.
Everybody bring their lady. Well, yeah, now that Bert's out, you know.
Yeah. It's opening.
So listen to this story.
Quick game.
So my best pal from college, you guys know, Alex Van Pelt, offensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns. He called me and he said, hey, you know, the Browns were coming to LA to play the Chargers. And it actually turns out that it's what's called the Wives Weekend. So the team, all the assistant coaches and, you know, all the wives travel with the team. And they probably even get to LA before the team gets there. And the girls, the wives, they all go out for lunch or dinner, or spa treatments, whatever they do, sightseeing, whatever. And then the team lands and then they come in, they have team meetings and so on and so forth. And then, you know, it's 8:00 at night and it's pretty much like, you know, maybe have a quick dinner and then go to sleep. So he calls me and he says, are you going to come to the game? And now I'm in a dilemma. I want to see my best pal and his team, and I want to be there to support him, but I don't want to go to a Charger game at SoFi Stadium. I'll happy to go to a Rams game at SoFi Stadium.
What?
So my kids are like, we want to see Uncle Alex. We want to go to a game. My daughter, Jillian, who's 19, tells me, she was, Dad, I've never been to an NFL game. I'm like, that's because I was working all the time. I was working all these NFL games. My son used to come with me to the games. My daughter says, I've never been to an NFL game. So my kids are all over me. We must go see the Browns play the Chargers at SoFi Stadium. So I'll throw it to you two guys. What do I do?
You go.
Is this a real question?
Yeah, it's a real question.
The hell you asking us? You go. What you mean? You go.
Yeah, dude, you're stuck. If you didn't have kids and it was just your boy, you can get away from it. But you got kids, and
Listen,
you got
nope, bruh. You go. Period. You going to support your boy, dog. You got to support your boy regardless of where it's at. If he call you, say, hey, you coming? You go. I'm riding, dog. What you doing? What you mean? You got to support him, and it's against your enemy. In your enemy house, bruh.
Yeah. And so what he told me is, and now it just gets better. You guys will love this. He's like, listen, I got you a hotel room at the team hotel.
This guy.
Okay. I got you tickets for you and your kids
Why are we
and
having
your
this conversation?
girlfriend.
What are you talking about here?
I got tickets for you and your kids. I got tickets for your girlfriend and her kids. I want you to bring everybody.
You didn't get Alex no ticket?
We couldn't even get tickets for that. Damn.
Let me
dog,
ask
I
you-
can't get invite anywhere, dude.
Let me ask you this.
Damn.
Do I go early and party with the Bolt Pride family?
This
Or do
cold
I try
water,
and
dog.
sneak in and just be under the radar?
First
No,
of all,
listen, the Bolt Pride family has always been nice regardless of what happened.
Yes.
Alvarez and Johnny Bolt Pride have always been nothing but nice.
But I
got
also
nothing
wouldn't
against
do
those
it.
two dudes.
Yeah, love those
But
guys.
they might be with people that are not so nice to you. So
Right.
I don't know. That's up to you.
Avoid
That's-
them. You're going
But if
to-
you have 4 kids, I think you'll be fine.
You listen to me. They're animals at football games. Not those particular guys because they're nice. I've met them. They're very good people, good families. Other than that, you go. You go. You support.
Yeah, you
the
gotta
Browns.
go.
We're
Gotta
all
go.
Browns gear.
And if Rachel doesn't want to take any of her kids, let me know. I'll go.
Okay.
With you.
All right. Appreciate that. All right.
Or
Stick
if any of
around,
your kids
everybody.
don't wanna go.
All right. We're in the 7 Mile Casino Studios.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
Kaplan and Crew tonight is brought to you by BMW San Diego, your certified BMW dealer, serving drivers throughout San Diego and the surrounding areas.
Hey, it's Pharrell here, inviting you to catch my shows on the Mightier 1090. We're on twice every Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. and 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific. Trust me, all the other sports stations are sleeping with your wife.
The all-new and mightier 1090.
Great things can be achieved when a community comes together. Join Erica Cardenas on Doing More as she introduces you to ordinary people working side by side to confront tremendous challenges and make a positive impact in their community. Watch Doing More Sunday night at 6 on YourView or stream it online at yourview.com. Sponsored by The Barnes Firm, partnering with Shelter to Soldier and saving lives 2 at a time. Visit thebarnesfirm.com/shelter to soldier and help save more lives.
This year, Jobtoberfest is Wednesday, October 13th. It's the largest annual job fair in San Diego County for people with disabilities. CAES is one of our major sponsors.
CASE is excited to be a partner of this year's Jobtoberfest. At CASE, we believe that our people are our most important asset and value the talent that individuals with disabilities bring to our organization. Join our team and launch your career at CASE. Hope to see you there.
Nothing about the last year was normal. But you weathered it with grace, ingenuity, and creativity. In empty classrooms and full Zooms, you kept it together when we were apart. For all that you are, for all that you do, we salute you. Salute to Teachers is proudly sponsored by these charitable companies.
Here's Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout with Haley Stasiak.
San Diego State football had a bye last week, but they jumped into the top 25 in the AP poll. There were several upsets in college football on Saturday, which helped get the Aztecs into the rankings. This is the first time SDSU has been ranked since week 10 of the 2019 season. Prior to that year, the Aztecs hadn't been ranked since 2017, where they were at number 18 in the coaches poll with a 6-0 start to the season. That's the highest ranking for SDSU in 40 years. SDSU is off to a 4-0 start for the second time in 40 seasons, their last 4-0 start coming in 2017. Next up for SDSU is New Mexico this Saturday. That's your 60-second timeout. Now back to more Kaplan and Crew tonight.
Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout is presented by YourView.
Arash Markazi here, inviting you to catch my show, The Arash Markazi Show, on the Mightier 1090. We are on every Monday through Friday from noon to 1 p.m. Pacific time. Join me and producer extraordinaire G. Wiley, where we chop up Los Angeles sports and try not to piss too many people off.
The all-new and mightier 1090.
From fitness to medical technology, explore how people are leading healthier lives on Your Health. Join Erica Cardenas as she introduces you to health experts and discover how our daily choices affect our well-being. Plus, learn simple tips for healthier living. Your Health, Sunday at 4:30 p.m. on YourView and YourView.com. Brought to you by La Mesa Rehab, improving the lives of those afflicted by chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Learn more at lamesarehab.com.
COVID vaccines are safe, convenient, and free, and they are effective at protecting you against the coronavirus. I'm Dr. Akilah Weber, a pediatric gynecologist and state assembly member, and I got the vaccine to protect my family. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and everyone who receives the vaccine helps us get one step closer to returning to normal. Go get your vaccine today. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find a site near you. Do it for yourself, your family, and for our community.
Live soccer is back. Watch Orange County Soccer Club, OC's highest level of professional soccer, live on YourView. Watch Orange County SC take on the Phoenix Rising FC Wednesday, October 13th at 7. Watch world-class players and future stars. Transform your summer with the new family game night and outdoor fun all season long. Live soccer is back. Orange County SC versus the Phoenix Rising FC Wednesday, October 13th at 7 on YourView.
At La Jolla Cosmetic, we try to help people achieve well-being, and we feel that it's not only important to look good, but also feel good inside. And honestly, what a better opportunity to help my community than being a supporter of an organization such as Las Patronas.
The mission of Las Patronas is to provide financial assistance to local nonprofits that are providing valuable community services in the areas of health, education, social services, and cultural arts. La Jolla Cosmetic has been one of our biggest supporters at Las Patronas, so we couldn't do what we do without their support.
You feel the need and you see the need because we go to visit each grant applicant.
Partnering with groups that are actually dedicated to help your community, it's the best thing that you can do as a responsible business.
Shelter to Soldier is 9 years young with a mission to save lives 2 at a time. We're adopting dogs from local shelters, training them for post 9/11 combat veterans, and we're able to donate these trained dogs to deserving veterans in need.
You know, I was in a very dark place. I was having suicidal thoughts, and I really needed an immediate help. We don't know if tomorrow is going to be there for us.
Shelter to Soldier is a nonprofit, and we're able to do the work that we do because of you, the community. Whether it's an individual donating $5 or whether it's a corporate donor like the Barnes firm that's supporting us and sponsoring multiple dogs that are going to make an impact in the veterans' lives in need.
Him by my side 24/7 has completely turned my life around. It's not just saving both of our lives, it has made an impact on myself, Nigel, my family, my work. So yes, they definitely have saved our lives.
Kaplan Accrued Tonight is brought to you by BMW San Diego, your certified BMW dealer, serving drivers throughout San Diego and the surrounding areas.
Save the Stork is an organization that equips pregnancy resource centers across the nation so that these pregnancy resource centers can reach more women facing unplanned pregnancies and provide them with holistic care, compassionate choices, and just an abundance of resources to support their decision to choose life. Save the Stork has been around for about 10 years. Most people know us by our Stork buses. A Stork bus is a mobile medical unit that's equipped with the state-of-the-art medical equipment as well as very knowledgeable and experienced medical professionals.
The buses enable them to reach areas where maybe there's not a pregnancy care center nearby. We are here to walk this journey with you so that you're not alone and to help you find your heart in all of this. And that means and that you're going to make a choice that is truly going to be something that years from now you're going to be proud of.
Attention, all dogs, cats, horses, tortoises, birds, pigs, and all other pets. Get your family members to sit, stay, and watch Animal Zone every Saturday at 9 p.m. right here on this channel and at animalzone.org.
Tune in Saturdays at 9 p.m. to watch Animal Zone right here on YearView.
Thank you for joining us. Catch Scott Kaplan and crew tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific every Monday through Friday. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio, SoCal Sports Talk.